What is up, guys? This is the Frost Buddy podcast where we talk about business, fitness, and personal development and just how to dominate and own your own life in general. I'm your host, Brock Moser. And how was that intro? Was that pretty decent? We're working on it, right? I'm going to get an intro that is just absolutely fire, right? If you know me, I'm a huge Real AF fan, Andy Frisella, and best intro in the entire world. So I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be awesome. But you know what? I'm pretty proud of that one. I sat here for about 10 minutes thinking about how I could do this intro, and it's kind of difficult. So if you got any ideas, shoot me a message. But if you have not been here before, hopefully that helped a little bit, right? We talk about business, fitness, entrepreneurship. I'm the founder of Frost Buddy. If you don't know, um, pretty much my brother and I have went from 0 to 8 figures in less than a year, and then now we're gonna keep it on going, and we're just learning, failing our way to success. And so, you know, if you haven't been here, all I ask is that if you like it, if you think there's some value here, just share the show. But yeah, I'll talk about all sorts of different things. I think if I can help one person on this journey, because it is a journey, right? And I'm still learning, but I think I'm doing a disservice if I don't kind of share my experience in building this business. I think entrepreneurship is the greatest personal development course in the entire world. It's a fast track to an MBA. If you want something like that, if you're, maybe looking into that or looking into starting your own business. So, yeah, I think, there's just a lot of people that I can help with my experience in, you know, growing a $10 million plus business in just an absolute crazy fast amount of time. So it's been a lot. It is a lot, but why not share that and see in both business and in life if someone feels the same way I feel and if we can help, because I think that's what that's what I'm on this earth to do, is to just help people, to inspire people, and hopefully to you know, make someone else out there feel like, there's other people experiencing what they're experiencing or what they're about to experience. So that's it. That's the rundown. And we got a good one for you today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about money in general. I know money. It's not talked about a lot, which is so weird to me because once you get out of college, like that's kind of like that's what it is, right? Everyone's like why are you going to work for money? Why are you starting a business for money? Like let's be real. Like that's what it is. Yes, maybe you solved a problem. Yes, if you're truly inspired, if you're truly you know, following your passion. It might not be for money. And so that's what I'll talk about a little bit is kind of the different aspects and the different, levels, I think both really, I think just psychologically of how money has an impact and how it plays a role in people's lives. And so, you know, what does it take? Like, how much money do you genuinely need, to live and to live a happy and fulfilled life? And that's something that I look at, something I've listened to a lot, and a big fan of Simon Sinek. If you've never heard him, go look at his stuff, look him up on YouTube. Unbelievable speaker. And so, there was a study done that basically after, I believe it was like $65,000 to $75,000. Don't quote me completely on that, but I'm pretty sure it was around then. That after $65,000 or $75,000, the amount of happiness and fulfillment that came after that much money, like that was all the money that someone needed to have a truly happy and fulfilled life. Because the correlation in terms of how much the money increased, in terms of how much the happiness increased with it, was actually not that much. And so it's very interesting to me, right? When you hear that stat, when you hear that, okay, most people are genuinely able to have a very happy life at $75,000. But yet so many of us are pushing and pushing, pushing for, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be, I want to have this much. I want to have this much. And does it come from a place of greed? That's what we ask ourselves. And I think a lot of people in society would say yes. I think some of it's skewed, some of it's flawed in terms of how we're approaching it, how we're looking at it. And so I want to just break it down in terms of how I think about it and how I think others see it, perceive it, and think about it as well. So, when we hear that it's $75,000, I truly believe that that is true. Because, here I am with Frostbuddy and I'm paying myself, literally $3,000 a month, right? And I'm paying myself enough to get food, to pay for, supplements because I work out and I think, you know, my health and personal health is very important to me. So I'm absolutely not going to ever cut corners on food or supplements in terms of like it's protein, right? Protein powder, maybe some creatine. And so I'm going to pay myself for that, for gas, and which I never really drive because I work at home. And then pretty much just for rent, right? To rent. And I've lived in a 5-bedroom college house for $400 a month. And then I moved to a 3-bedroom college apartment for $380 a month. That was just an absolute crap show of a crap hole of a place. And I was happy, right? And I didn't need much. And it was honestly great because that last year I was working on Frostbuddy full time. I was not in school. So I was on my own, but it made me realize that I don't need much to live on. Like I really don't. At that time, I was not paying myself $3,000 a month even. I was not even making anything at that point, but I was just living on enough. And what it made me realize is that one, I'm not doing Frostbuddy for the money. And I'm not building this business for the money. Yes. Do I see the numbers? Yes. Am I competitive? Am I driven? Am I disciplined to want to see it succeed, to want to build a large business, to have an impact, to have influence? Absolutely. But for me, I look at it going, I can live right now how I'm living probably forever. If I have a family, yes. Am I going to need more? But like, again, that's not going to me. That's where if I had $60,000, it's probably enough, right? Am I saving much? Absolutely not. But in terms of happiness, in terms of fulfillment and what I need in life, once you have basic necessities, you really don't need more unless, I don't know. I don't have anything for you there unless I don't need more. And so, that's what this last year helped me realize is that, dang, like I can live, like I don't really need that much. So what I can do is I can really have delayed gratification. I can really push off how much money I can invest it back into Frostbite. I can make sure that the business is really, really going to, grow and be healthy and have enough funds because I don't need it. Because personally, I don't need it. I love seeing it grow. I love gaining more customers, gaining more followers. I love just gaining more people that love the brand, that are inspired by the brand, that I get to inspire with our passion and with our passion to innovate and to create great products that bring people joy. Like our Facebook group of 7,000 people means more to me than seeing a giant number up on the computer screen from a big sales day. It really does. Just seeing how much joy Frostbuddy brings to their life, like that's worth more than money. Now, where we get into this issue is that one day, if we decide to, let's say, exit Frostbuddy, if say 10 years down the road, Frostbuddy all of a sudden isn't doing 8 figures, maybe it's doing 9 figures, just because I'm inspired, just because I like to put in the work and I like to build things and I like to win. It's going to look maybe like I'm chasing the money. And that's where I think it's very misinterpreted to a lot of entrepreneurs, to a lot of successful business people, that they are chasing the money. Now, when they're just purely greedy, which there's a ton of people out there, yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right because, as someone that is faith-filled, as someone that, has God in their life, and I don't think that that's what we're here to do, and I don't think that matters because at the end of the day, I've realized even at 24 years old that when I see $100,000 in sales in a single day, I don't feel much different. You don't feel much different. It's no different than when I was in track and field and all of a sudden my goal was to get first and second in the Big Ten in pole vault with my best friend. Well, when that happened, when I was on the podium, it's no different than that. It was no different feeling going, man, this was my goal, but I don't feel any better, or I don't feel any more joy. And that's because it's not about that. It's about the process. I looked back in pole vault and I was like, no, it was the training. It was the practices. It was who I had to become. And it's the exact same thing in business. It's not about seeing that $100,000 day or $200,000 day, because if you're looking for that, it's going to be empty. Because once that happens, it's just material. There's no emotion there. There's no feeling that it's going to give you. There's nothing. There's no inspiration that's happening. Like, there's just no emotion tied to it, right? It's just material. It's just a number on a screen, or it's a number in your account. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter that much. And if someone truly, truly lives and dies on that, then guess what? What happens when that number all of a sudden is maybe zero? What, are you just going to be the most depressed person on the face of the earth? Yes, you will be if you're tied to that. So you have to be tied to something different. And so, if yes, Frostbitty, let's say, sold for $100 million, and now all of a sudden I have all this money, and you're like, well, what the heck? You're not like, you just talked about not being greedy. Absolutely. It's still not money driving it. When you're in business and you solve a problem, and we made a great product, and I'm going to continue to make great products to innovate, to disrupt, and to solve problems, money is a result of that. That's just the society we live in. That's life. It's a business, right? I'm still running a business, but what makes me more fulfilled and gives me more happiness is if by the time we sell for $100+ million, which we will, is that I'm going to probably have a massive impact and change probably 100+ people's lives by them also making a ton of money and having a very prosperous and wealthy life for them, for their families, and knowing that I had a humongous role in that, and that by me creating this, by me solving the problems that I'm solving, I was able to have that direct impact. And that's not for me. The money's not for me. But I was able to help this many people, and I was able to bring this much joy and satisfaction to millions and millions of customers. And so, when I'm hearing my sermon this Sunday, we talk about, what God truly wants us to do is lend a hand to anyone, right? Anyone that needs it. And so, whether it's me in this podcast lending knowledge or lending, perspective, that could be something, or whether it's just physically seeing someone that needs help and helping them, whether it's opening the door, it could be anything, right? And when you lend a hand, it talks about God will repay you, God will reward you. Well, I think most people might think money. They might think, oh, well, when you hear reward for doing something, you might think money. But in fact, God would never, ever reward you with money, because he's going to reward you as written, that and something you need the most. He's going to reward you with something you need the most. And what you need the most is never going to be money. Might be, honestly, actually, I don't think it will ever be. Even if you are broke as could be, it probably won't be money. But what he could lend you is maybe encouragement from a friend. He could maybe reconcile a relationship. He could maybe, bring you joy from something, or seeing someone, or seeing something. But it will not be money, because he's going to bring you what you need most. And what you need most is never going to be that. And if it is, you're going to find that it's an empty life. So when you have enough money for the basic necessities, that's actually going to be enough. Now, I don't think that there's still anything wrong with shooting for wanting more. So you can be appreciative and you can be satisfied. Or no, you can be appreciative, but you can still not be satisfied. You can still be hungry for more, right? You can still want to have that giant house. You can still want to, that's still okay, in my opinion, as long as you still have in your heart and your head of what the right reasons are and how you're supposed to act with that. So when you get there, if you know that if I know that by me having this mansion, having some sports cars, because I worked my ass off, but now I'm in a position to have a major, major impact with charities, with education, with scholarships, with schools, with helping other entrepreneurs because I've built up that wealth, that's a different story, in my opinion. And so it's okay to shoot for that, to shoot for $100+ million, knowing, and along the way, you're still doing it, going, hey, when we sell, when I do have this excess cash that I don't really need, yes, I can put a lot of it away to help change my family and make sure my family's comfortable for generations to come. Absolutely. But I can also go create my own foundations, create my own charities, create schools. I can make a just drastic impact because of the level of money that you're at. And that is what so many people that will just talk about these entrepreneurs, these CEOs and their greed, that's what they're not seeing, is that they could give a small percentage to their church and to the school and to their charity. It could be a small percentage of their net worth, absolutely. But the impact, I look at it as an impact. How much impact is it actually having? If it's 1%, but that 1% is $50 million, well, guess what? That's a massive impact. So I'm not going to sit here and, harp at someone for not giving more when they gave enough to have a massive impact. I just don't agree with it. You could disagree, absolutely, but as someone that is in it and understanding how hard it is and just how grueling it is to build what I'm building and what they've built, like, I'm just not going to make them. I'm going to let them have that decision themselves. They can do what they want, and I don't know that anyone should judge them or hate on them, even for not giving enough. I think that's just unfair. So, I know I went on and on and on about this, but I do think it's important because, one, people don't talk about money. People will talk behind the scenes. They'll talk about other people with money, and they'll assume and they'll judge, and there's just absolutely no point. So money is all it's all relative in terms of, what you're wanting out of your life, what you get fulfillment from, and just finding your purpose, finding your mission, and finding, what you want to do to inspire people. You could be more on the Steve Jobs train and being worth $10 billion. You could be more on Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak? Steve Wozniak? Are they both named Steve? I don't think so. Maybe not. I don't know. If I had someone with me, they could fact check me on this. But anyway, who's worth $100 million because he gave just so much of his wealth created from Apple away. You could be either or. And it's just what you want to do and how you get fulfillment in life. You got to look at your own life. You got to look at, hey, what do I really need and what do I really want out of life? And you know what? It might take just getting slapped in the face, getting the material things and being like, shit, that's not what I needed. So, I'm fortunate that I got to see it very early. And I hope that if you're listening to this, you can kind of take a step back and look and say, what is it that truly, truly is making me happy? Is it the money? Now, if you don't have enough money and you need to make more, then that's a different story, in my opinion. I do think you have to get to that level because otherwise it's going to cause other problems. So, that guy that can't afford a car is he's going to have more issues than that guy that's in a freaking Ferrari. The guy in the Ferrari might have some bigger problems, but they're better problems. That's just how it's going to be. So there's a fine line. You got to get there. But once you are there at the basic necessities, I think it's going to be all subjective and all how it's just person to person. And we're not going to judge anyone for anything. But money is probably not going to be the motivating factor. And if you think it is, then think again, because it's going to lead to an empty life, an empty business, and you're not going to inspire very many people. we want to inspire people, right? Inspire them to do better, to be better, to do good. So, that's my topic on money. You can thank my mom for that. That was a good idea, Mom. She gave me the topic for money. So if you think someone might like this, might have some value here, just share it with them. Share it with them. Hey, if you're listening right now, frostbuddy.com are doing a giveaway on a cooler right now on a tailgate package. So go check that out. That's not an advertisement because I own it, right? Is that an advertisement? I don't know. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Share the show, and hope you enjoyed that one on money. Until next time, have a good one, guys.